Out on another test drive on a 66 convertible. Customer wants me to take it down the road, give him my impressions of what the car's like. Now, I've been driving these things for 32 years, so I know a good one from a bad one. I can understand what one is the way it was when it was new, and then also ones that there's something wrong with them. This one's a little 6-cylinder car, and I tell you what, the 6-cylinder cars steer and brake better than the 8-cylinder cars. And the reason is because the heaviness of the 8-cylinder engine just does something to these cars. The steering gearbox is the same size steering gearbox for the 6-cylinder as it is for the 8-cylinder. So just because they bumped up the weight on the V8 car doesn't mean they did anything more to speak of with the steering gearbox. Meaning that the 6-cylinder car is actually a pretty nice car to drive down the road. It holds the road real well. It doesn't have as much play in the steering as an 8-cylinder car because you don't have that weight kind of lopping from one side to the other. So that plays a big role. The other thing that's kind of neat on this particular 6-cylinder car, it's got power brakes. And power brakes on an old car is a real big benefit. I suppose if I had to make a decision between whether I wanted power steering or power brakes on an old Mustang or an old Camaro or an old Cuda or whatever it might be, I think I'd pick the power brakes. Once you get yourself rolling in an old car, the steering isn't as big an issue. It's more of a parking thing as far as the power assist goes. But that's the beauty of these old cars, Mustangs, Camaros, Cudas, whatever it might be, is that there's such a big following out there of aftermarket companies, like many of the companies that sponsor my show, that sell things that retrofit on these things. If you don't have power brakes, no problem. Order up a power brake kit from one of the companies that sponsors my show. Power steering, same thing. Not only can you get a power steering kit, you can get a rack and pinion kit. You can get like a rack and pinion is something that they put on modern cars, and that really does tighten up the steering. It can be a little overkill where it seems a little bit tight, but for the most part, that's a pretty good kit itself. Air conditioning, there's all sorts of extra things that you can get. The stereo systems, there's all sorts of stereo stuff out there for these things. They originally just had that little AM radio in the dash, and that's kind of neat for the guys that just want to keep them plain Jane and original. But for somebody that wants to enjoy their car and have some modern music, and you can just get a retro radio that they have out now that'll fit in the dash. It'll accommodate an MP3, it'll accommodate a CD, and of course, most of them now kind of have that original look to them. I'm going to turn around here and do a little U-turn right here.